All right, what is going on, everybody? We are here. We are back. We are live. This is the UFC Paris betting show. FightNumbers.com team here live. Basically, just a couple housekeeping notes before we get started. So, as you can tell, we are doing it on my YouTube channel, and that's going to be how we do it moving forward. So, this is not going to take away from my individual weekly betting videos that I do on my channel. I probably won't get one of those up for this card, but eventually, like, I'm going to be doing that by myself. And then every Wednesday at 8 p.m., we're going to shoot to do this here each and every week. So it's going to be a free show moving forward, fully interactive chat. Basically, the format is going to be whatever fights you guys want us to talk about or any other questions that you have. Put it in the chat. You guys are running the show. So definitely be interactive in the chat, and we'll basically just go from there. But boys, it's a good card to be back, I think. I'm definitely excited about it, especially after a week off. And I think there's actually a couple decent betting spots as well. So how are we feeling?
Feeling great. Crisp fall air has hit. Q4 about to come in off a pay-per-view. Nice international card to lead us back into Salt Lake City for a big pay-per-view. So I'm excited. Week off and ready to get back to it.
Oui, fellas. Spooky season is upon us. Yeah, I like this card too much for betting. The more I look into it, like I just keep finding spots that I want to bet, but I don't want to risk too much. So I'm trying to just contain myself from firing a ton of bets, but it seems like a really actionable card for sure.
Chad, how are we feeling? You got a flex in you tonight, or are we feeling it?
I don't know. I don't
Too
have a
early?
pump. If I had a pump, maybe.
Okay.
I'm surprised I haven't got comments on the facial hair yet, though. I was expecting to catch some shit.
Oh, I'm sure they'll come in. I'm sure they'll come in.
People have to zoom in to see it.
Yeah.
Not the mustache.
But yeah, guys, basically, whatever fights you guys want us to talk about, just put it in the chat, and we'll kind of work our way through the card that way. But before, like, as people are coming in, I think we're on the same side of a bet, so we can kind of lead with that one. It's on the prelims. It's one of the first fights of the card. Pepe, what do you think about the Daniel Barez Victor Altimirano matchup? I know Ozzy might have something to say about it, but how are you feeling about this matchup?
Good. Just because we haven't done a show since the Noche card, right?
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks.
I instead of firing right into it, I was just gonna think about the Noche card a little bit.
Wow. With killing the vibe. I set you up with the Daniel Barrett.
I need to get warmed up a little, you know.
Yeah, you're good.
Just jump right into it. I wanted to pat myself on the back, and also, I had to pat myself on the back on the Grasso Shevchenko GTD and the Valentina Shevchenko moneyline bet, but also kick myself for betting O'Malley like a damn casual. And it was funny because Ozzy and I were on the exact opposite sides for both of them. But, with college football and everything, we weren't able to talk it through. Ozzy, were you surprised at how those fights played out?
I was a bit surprised on the Valentina one specifically, just because, in her corner, Alexa was, in that first round, she attempted some solid submissions, but it was very evident that Valentina was just not getting caught by some of these, positions, especially that triangle armbar. So at some point, I don't know why she didn't just start to just punt her, like kick her in the chest, get up, use that position to scramble. But it was a pretty pathetic performance by her. A great bet by you. And I'm kicking myself because I like the goes the distance, and I ended up splitting my bet between Alexa moneyline and to win by decision, when in reality it should have just all been for the fight to go the distance overall. But I did it was frustrating because in that fifth round, when Alexa actually tried to take Valentina down, it almost happened like the first fight. She almost grabbed her back and got her into a rear naked choke. So yeah, that was a bit frustrating. But I was happy about the Merab bet.
Yeah. I was surprised that Merab was able to have success early. I thought O'Malley was going to be able to manage distance better and be able to land big shots on the feet, but his offense was really neutered when he had to worry about the takedown threat. And I think Merab's striking is getting better and better each fight. Like his bouncy footwork, side to side movement was really giving Sean a lot of, Sean didn't really land anything, man. Like,
no, and he looked so exhausted too. Like going into like the fourth and the fifth round, and it's like not even a high paced fight. So, I'm sure he will, get some people, like win a few more fights, but that was a huge weakness that was showcased on the Sphere, biggest showcase. So
yeah. So I saw that they were announcing that Weili Zhang is going to have fight news soon, and I had a theory that Weili Zhang is going to fight Shevchenko for a double belt at 125 because they booked Tatiana Suarez and then they booked Jandiroba against her. So there's no one in the top at 115. So that would be interesting if they did Shevchenko versus Weili.
Yeah, Weili's got strong wrestling. Might be able to stay up on the feet.
Yeah, but yeah, we can jump right into this card. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I can get right into it. Daniel Barez versus Altimirano. It looks like, let's see where did these lines open? It opened around to pick 'em, and then some money came in on Barez early, and then ever since Altimirano was like plus 110, it seems like everyone really likes the Altimirano side, and to the point where he flipped a favorite. And market wide, he's around minus 125 to minus 130. And I actually like the underdog in the spot, Daniel Barez. And so I think it's a really good matchup for Barez, honestly. Like if you go back and you watch the Contender Series fight with Carlos Hernandez against Barez, it's a very, very close fight, and Barez is able to hurt him early. He's able to get takedowns on him. He's able to go 15 minutes with him, at a really high-paced fight. And, what stuck out in that fight to me was that every time Barez got Hernandez down, Hernandez was able to scramble and work his way back up to the feet. And you've seen in subsequent fights that Hernandez is really good at scrambling, say, for instance, against the Ray Tsutsura, or the Asian grappler, very high-level grappler. He's able to scramble with him really well. It was a super impressive fight, in my opinion. And I think the difference between fighting someone like Victor and Carlos is that Victor isn't going to be able to scramble so easily with him. I don't think he's, I think he's going to find himself with his back to the mat and not be able to work his way back up the way that Carlos did. And, against Carlos, Barez wasn't really able to get on top that much and apply top pressure. I think he's going to be able to do that against Altimirano. Altimirano's got pretty weak takedown defense. And honestly, Barez's takedown entries were impressive in that fight. And then, he's against Filho, and, he had a lot of success early in that fight and ends up making one mistake, and Filho submitted him, but he damn near knocked him out early. And his boxing, while fresh, is really good. Obviously, Victor is going to be the better, rangier striker with his kicks, but really, I'm not that impressed with Altimirano, to be honest with you. Like, if you think about the Felipe Dos Santos fight, it's in Mexico. Victor Altimirano is like a plus 250 underdog. Hardly anyone's picking him. And Felipe Dos Santos minus 300. It's a super close fight. Altimirano gets like 8 takedowns, but you notice he cannot hold Felipe Dos Santos down whatsoever. Dos Santos gets up as soon as he gets taken down each time. And then Dos Santos gets matched up with Andre Lima, and Andre Lima takes him down twice, holds him down for the entire round. And I think it's because, the lack of jiu-jitsu. And I know I know Ozzy likes Altimirano side, and I don't really understand. It's like Ozzy being like a grappler is like likes this karate guy who's like.
But Daniel Barez isn't even a grappler though, Pepe. He's
What
not.
do you mean he's not a grappler?
He's not really a grappler, and he's 36 years old, and his conditioning is his weakest. I mean, as soon as he got taken down by Fieldho, he didn't even try to escape at all. He kind of looked to his corner, he gave him a nod, and he's like, I hope you bet the first round submission for this guy because it's about to be a wrap. I'll give him credit. He went out to Spain. I think he had his camp in Mexico. He went off to Spain to finish the camp, so he's not jet lag like it was his excuse last time. But like you described, Victor, a perpetual underdog. People always see this guy and they say, "Oh, this guy, he's like skin and bones. He can't hit hard. He's bad at wrestling." He's taken down basically everyone he's ever fought, except for like Tim Elliott and like a few, like Nate Smith and what's it called in LFA. But the level of competition the guy's fought has been legit. He fought Jared Brooks, Lloyd McKinney, who's not a bad wrestler himself, and a few guys in the UFC who I think are good. I just think that overall, Victor, he's a southpaw. He's really never been hurt by a punch, even though Lacerda kind of dropped him. Victor was like throwing a kick. He got clipped and went down. But his conditioning is better. He's got a great chin. I think he's going to be able to see a lot of the strikes Barez has throws out there. Got a 4-inch reach advantage. And I think his ground game, I don't know if you've seen that fight where Lloyd just kept taking him down. He throws up these triangles. He throws punches and ground and pound or strikes in the bottom. And I just don't trust Barez over a prolonged fight. So that's why I like Victor in the fight. I don't blame you looking at Barez and, thinking maybe career best performance, but I just don't think the guy has a future in the UFC. And I'm just a big Victor Altimirano fan, so I'm not picking against my boy, all right? So Similar to Chase Hooper, this is one of my guys.
It's weird that he's one of your guys, though, because he doesn't really – his jiu-jitsu
he's just scrappy.
That good.
He's just funny. I like guys that just shouldn't look like they know how to fight and, get the shit done.
That's fair.
It's the cello that drew
the
him
cello
in.
as well. The cello as well. The man is going to Europe where the cello originated, and he will put on a symphony.
I'm also on the Barez side with Pepe. I mean, I think this guy's way better than Ozzy's giving him credit. I liked him on Contender Series against Carlos Hernandez. You mentioned the ground game. I think the Rafael Filho fight was really just a quit job by him, which is obviously a bad look, but you have to factor in he took it on short notice. He got the call when he was on vacation with his wife in Thailand for 2 weeks. So I think he gave it his all in those first couple minutes, which he hurt Filho, dropped him, hurt him to the body twice. I think instead of just forcing him up, if he just follows up with some ground and pound, they usually don't take long to call those when someone gets dropped with a body shot. So it was kind of a fight IQ thing. And then once that didn't work, then it was like, I don't really want to be here anymore. Didn't really fight off the choke. Terrible look. But he's not a terrible grappler, though. Like, you look at his background, he comes from a Spanish combat sambo background. He's also a European Nogi bronze medalist in jiu-jitsu. So you look at some of his regional tape, and he's subbing guys inside the first round. Obviously, they're not as good as Altimirano. They're not. Most of them aren't UFC level. But I don't think he's just a complete zero on the mat like he showed against Rafael Filho. And the reason why I like this bet at an underdog price, because I think that's the significant difference. I wasn't super interested in laying the slight juice there, but once it went to plus money, I feel like it's a no-brainer, because you can easily exit out of your position after one round if you need to, because I think Barez wins round one at a massive clip here. I get the cardio concerns, but like I said, if I think he flips to a sizable favorite, well, if it looks like he's starting to slow, I think we can hop on the other side at a better price on Altimirano than what we're getting now. So I like the Barez side. And I'm going back, even though he burned me at his UFC debut against Filho.
Another thing that I'll say is, say what you want. Tim Elliott's a great wrestler. He's such a good wrestler. Dude, every time Elliott got Altimirano down in round 2 and 3, he wasn't working his way up. And fucking Elliott was gassed as shit. 6 minutes into the fight, sweating, dripping. and he
was nervous. He was in that guard. He was nervous in that Altimirano close guard, dude.
I mean, but it was just, dude, I couldn't believe how easily Elliott was getting him down, and he held him down easy as hell rounds 2 and 3. So I think that's definitely live.
The first time I saw Barez was back 7 when he fought Andy Young. I don't know if you guys watched that fight ever in taping him, and he looked great in that fight. I thought he was solid in that. But that was 7 years ago. I don't think he's gonna do well in a prolonged fight here. But I honestly think this fight, if you guys are right, I think this fight will end, will not go to the scorecards, and I think that Victor will also try to finish him. So the under 2.5 is plus 240. Not the worst bet.
I was like, who did that? I'm not.
I don't know. I think I might have clicked that by accident. I don't know what kind of setup did we have before. Yeah. Yeah. What about this? So this is gonna sound kind of off the board, but do you rule out a Barez submission?
No, dude, I was actually going to say that. I was going to let Chad go before I gave that shout, but I'm not kidding. I think I'm going to probably play that. 15-1 at Canby, like that's a huge number. Yeah. And like I mentioned, like he goes for subs, and I feel like Altimirano's pretty durable too. So like maybe he can rock him on the feet and then snatch something up. Chad, what you got?
Yeah, I actually like that. I think it's likely that he hurts him. I don't think he's going to put him out cold, right? But yeah. I think he rocks him. I think he follows him to the ground, and well, why couldn't he, snatch up a rear naked choke? I don't think he's going to KO him. I think he's probably going to hurt him a couple times in this fight, especially early. But yeah, I think he can hurt him and then follow up, with a sub off the club and sub. I didn't bet a money line side yet, but gun to the head, I would bet Barez.
Let's go.
Yeah, same reasons you guys say. I think he wins round 1 at a big clip. I think you have to kind of disregard last fight. Just when you look at the discrepancy between that and the Contender Series fight where he went 15 hard, something clearly was wrong. Maybe it was an adrenaline dump off, dropping him twice. Maybe he got, hurt. There were some shots coming his way on the feet. He did start backing up. Maybe he got caught somewhere, the liver, who knows? But it was a weird finish. I think you got to disregard it for the most part if you're going to, dip your toes into this fight. So, I might get there on Barez. We'll see. But, I could get down with the sub play there. I think club and sub is the most likely finish on his end.
That guy Dixon Sider said that was ages ago. What are you talking about, man? That fight was not that long.
Wasn't it like less than 2 years ago?
Victor's been training with Tim Elliott.
Really?
I didn't know that.
I don't know. That's what he said. Altimirano has now been training with Altimirano for years. I don't know. Elliott doesn't seem like
wrestling more.
Elliott doesn't seem like Victor's kind of guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did bet Barez. I bet Barez in both those fights, dude. So I know this guy.
Maybe not because he wasn't deciding those ones. So maybe you're hopping off at the wrong time.
Hey, those first couple minutes of the Filio fight were looking mighty.
I didn't, but I forgot.
I thought he won that Hernandez fight. I thought he won that.
So did I.
I thought he won that.
Bro, that was he dropped him?
Hold on. Was he the favorite?
The second time he dropped him, it should have been stopped.
Was he a favorite? Was he a favorite against Hernandez?
Pick him.
Yes, he was a favorite against.
Or maybe
Hernandez.
Super Soleil, maybe like minus 125.
Okay.
So
I mean, Filio, it was like a pick minus 120.
Okay. Really? So that's.
I'm pretty sure I bet him minus 120 and it moved again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, being a pick'em with Filho on short notice, and now being an underdog to Altimirano.
Respect
overcorrection, bro. Overcorrection,
dude. Did you bet Altimirano against?
He will. Fighters? Just give him a couple days. He's gonna do it. He's gonna.
I bet Victor. I think I bet Victor in like every fight he's ever had.
Yeah.
I bet him too. I bet him a fair bit, but after that Elliott fight, I was like, no, never again.
The Candelario fight, he made me multiple thousands of dollars.
Yeah,
because he was like plus 300 live.
The best
yeah,
one was the Lacerda one because he was like minus 150.
Amazing.
Yeah, and Lacerda has got that 1-round KO, and this guy's gonna block.
He was even an underdog to the Salvador dude live as well. Same thing. He was like underdog.
Yeah, they factored in the cardio edge. Let's go. Somebody else was asking. Somebody else was asking about the Brian Battle, Kevin Jousset. I think that was the next question up. Anyone have a strong take there? Go ahead and kick us off, Ozzy.
Yes. Great fight. One of my, I would probably say, probably my second favorite fight after the main event on this card. Two guys, both big welterweights, 75-inch, or I think both of them have 75-inch, maybe Battle a little bit more. But I'm interested in the Kevin Jousset side. You know, I think Battle got bet a little bit from the 130, 140 range, you know, up to 170, and we saw a little bit of playback. But I just feel that Brian Battle, if you look at his fights against Fletcher, he got dropped with a cheeky little elbow in the clinch. Versus Tresean Gore, obviously he got dropped there. He just a lot of times gives up some of these positions or big strikes. I don't think his chin is great at 170, and I don't know if you saw the picture that he took, I think with Matt Frevola. I don't remember who he was with. He looks terrible this week, in my opinion. He's cutting a lot of weight to make this 170-pound weight class. And I think the durability, drops off a little bit. I think his activity, which I think what he built his game around at 185, drops off a bit. And he is very much a fighter, in my opinion, that he's good taking the back foot. Like, he likes when you're reaching out for him. He likes it when you're attacking him first, and he's good at kind of like moving off, slipping off, throwing a few punches in response, like he did against Angelusa, like he did against Fletcher. But when he does need to take the front foot, I think he could get clipped. I don't like his defense. And I don't think that he has a ton of grappling upside, although I don't think he is a bad grappler. I just don't think that he's really going to go for the takedowns and his wrestling. And Jousset, on the other hand, even though I'm not super high on him in terms of thinking that he's going to be a top 10 guy or something like that, he's very fundamentally sound. He's very active. He throws out strikes that score, right? He'll throw the leg kicks. He continuously fights behind his jab. And he's just intelligent, has good vision in there. And I think he will mix it up, maybe look to fight this in a clinch. But either way, I think this is going to be a close fight. Overall, I think that Jousset might have some upside to hurt Battle, but I like Jousset on the money line. And I also have a bet. I'm putting a bet on him plus 250 to win by decision.
Yeah, I'm for this one, I'm on the same side as you. I like Jousset too. I got in at plus 155. The decision definitely makes a lot of sense. And like you were talking about a lot of the opponents that Battle has had success with over his little run. And if you look at them, they're all way shorter than him. They're all smaller than him. Finally, he's going to be fighting someone who's going to match him in height and and reach. So I don't think he's going to have the same advantages. Like he's been able to just teep freely. And I think actually the last person he fought that was actually his size was Renat. And even Renat dropped him.
Right, that is true. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Renat dog walked him and
was non-competitive.
Yeah, Renat, and it wasn't just because Renat was grappling him. Like, Renat hit him. I think it was in like the second round, and we've kind of seen that Renat's like not a high-level striker whatsoever. So that's very bearish for Battle. And I think he's kind of a fan favorite, so people like getting behind him. And Jousset hasn't fought as many UFC fights, but I still have questions about Battle's takedown defense. I think Jousset could get him down, especially as the fight wears on. He seems like he has really good cardio. And I do agree that he looks kind of weird this week. He's got like the platinum hair with the gold chains and everything, kind of has that crackhead energy. I think he's riding a little too high, a little too cocky off of that Angelusa performance where, everyone's like, oh, he was going to finish him. It's like, whatever. Like, and
If you- yeah.
and
If you
it's really not that impressive.
He is. And if you watch that fight again, dude, honestly, I feel the commentary definitely played up a little bit of like how big of an ass whooping it was. Because in reality, dude, he didn't drop Andrews, he didn't hurt him. His punches,
he was beating him up pretty good.
He was big brothering him, but his punches don't. I think the knockout
he was gonna finish him.
The knockout of Gabe Green really overrated. I think his power. He does not have.
He's always been a volume guy, yes. And then he high rolled that kick against Sato. You know, the Lusa performance. Yeah, I agree, dude. He's the one with durability issues.
He's gotten dropped in a lot of many of his fights. Many of his fights.
I just hope I don't really have anything on this fight. I think I give him a little bit more credit, but where the line's at, I mean, I have no interest in laying the chalk here. I just hope he wins, just so we hear another post-fight presser on the mic. Chad, anything on this fight?
Yeah, I'm with Ozzy and Pepe here. I think Jousset's the side at plus. I think it's likely a closely contested fight that goes to decision. Most of the time, I give Jousset a little more finish equity than battle, but I think this goes to decision and it's competitive. So I bet plus 145.
All right, three guys taking an underdog shot there. It sounds like in unison on the Jousset side. That's the other thing I don't think anybody touched on. I know he's a city kickboxing guy, but I believe he is French by nature, right?
Yeah, that's another thing. Like if you watch the Contender series with Navajo Sterling, they're doing a real good job bringing these guys up, and you're seeing a lot of improvements from fight to fight. And no knock on Battle, but he's not from like a high level gym or anything. So yeah, I really like how well-rounded Kevin is, and if it was like plus 110, I probably wouldn't bet it, but once it blew out, I had to get involved.
Yeah, you like the over? Definitely reps France, by the way. Like he's
done a lot of media already in French.
If you like the over got steamed today a little bit. It looks like DraftKings is still hanging a 175 for a goes the distance.
I don't know if anyone had any takes on Dixon's question here.
Who has the hottest feet on the card? Probably Brito.
There you go. Brito it is. Tristan wanted to hear about the fair Ziam Matt Frevola fight. Pepe, I believe you have action on this fight, so you can get us started here.
Yeah, I took Ziam when he was plus money, and I think so. I think it checks some boxes for me. Number one, I think Frevola kind of it's another thing with Battle. Like these guys are like big fan favorite guys. People like to get behind them. They're always pretty popular, and I think with this matchup, Ziam being 7 years younger with a huge height and reach advantage. I trust his I'm not going to say I trust his ability to work his way back up, because I know there is a world where Frevola is able to get him down, but I think on the feet it's not that close. Frevola has gotten knocked down 6 times, and he's getting up there in age, coming off a brutal knockout. A lot of he's gotten rocked so many times in his career, and like at some point the damage catches up to you. He's a brawler, he loves to throw down, but I don't think he's going to be able to catch Ziam. So I think he has to wrestle in order to win this fight, and I wouldn't really trust him to do it. So he's flying across the pond. I mean, I don't really expect that to like affect him whatsoever. He's a veteran, but a lot of his wins really aren't aging that well outside of the Turner win. But like Lando Venata was a really close fight. He got dropped multiple times. The Luis Pena one, he probably wouldn't have won in today's modern scoring criteria. He was getting rocked all over the place. It was like one of those things where like after round 1, he slows down a bit. And I think Ziam's going to be too fast for him as the fight wears on. So I think he needs to grapple in order to win. So I think there's a lot of upside in Ziam at the underdog odds. And, he's fighting in France. Last time he fought in France, I'm pretty sure it was against Figlek, and he had like his career best performance. So I think there's a fair bit of upside at getting Ziam in his prime against an aging Frevola.
Chad, what do you feel about this one, buddy?
Oh, I'm back on screen. I was sitting, I was stuck under the pinned comments for a while. Thank God. I was playing with my mustache. As far as this fight goes, I'd lean Frevola, but for the reasons that Pepe brought up about him, I haven't gotten involved. There are durability issues. Not that I think Ziam's super dangerous. Frevola, I couldn't get there, but I do lean Frevola. I think he would be the side, but there's enough red flags for me to just not want to get involved. So
interesting. Yeah, this is another fight that I find very intriguing on this card. I'm looking at the props. I was a little confused. We're talking about Frevola getting knocked out a few times, but Ziam is not a big hitter. He a lot of times when he's throwing these shots, he's kind of like moving his weight away. He's not really kind of sitting down. Very seldom does he kind of follow with like a strike after a right hand or something like that. So I was thinking this fight is going to go the distance because I do think that Frevola is going to wrestle, and I don't think it's going to be that hard for him to take Ziam down. Some of the decisions that I saw Ziam, I had Ziam against Claudio Puelles, and he easily could have lost that fight. But some of the grappling decisions he made were just egregious. And it's also, on top of that, he and Claudio knew each other pretty well, because I'm pretty sure they were both training at Killcliff, either right before it or, even maybe in the lead up, somewhere around there. They were both there, and they didn't want to fight. And they were like, no, dude, you guys got to fight. So I think he knew his entries, he knew all this stuff, and he let him kind of get a lead on him and kind of clawed it back, a bit. But I just don't think he's a big hitter. For a knockout for him to be priced as the most likely outcome, I just don't see as realistic, in my opinion. So the two bets that I've been eyeing on this one is the goes the distance or the over 2.5. And Matt Frevola by decision, which is plus 300. Either of those two, I think, are good stabs on this. I'm not gonna knock on the money line play on Ziam, as the dog here a bit, but I just don't think that a lot of guys he's fought are on Matt Frevola's level. I know you guys know we know some individuals that think Matt Frevola is equal to Mateusz Gamrot, and Ziam is definitely not that. Chad, you're turning pink. Bro, you're turning pink. One of the worst.
You brought up a good friend of mine.
One of the worst comparisons I've ever heard from a credentialed gambler.
Come on.
But yeah, those are the two sides that I'm leaning on. But I couldn't pay Ziam chalk here, just between his propensity to be behind and losing early, and then also not having a lot of finishing power.
Yeah, I actually mainly agree with Ozzy and Chad. I think Ozzy's a little more convicted, it sounds like, but I was thinking of just kind of staying away from the money line and looking at a GTD, just because like you mentioned, like Ziam doesn't really have that finishing power, even though Frevola does get reckless. And on the flip side, we've seen Frevola, fight to decision multiple times. Like if he leads on that wrestling, dude, like I could easily see this going the full distance, and I think it's only like you can get a cheap minus 105 out there for GTD, which I think is pretty solid.
Ziam couldn't even get close to finishing Puelles, dude. You know Puelles is a quitter.
The crazy thing is Frevola hasn't fought out of round 1 in 3 years. Like he was always
the matchups though.
Yeah, he was going to decision a lot of times, like earlier in his career. So it's kind of crazy. I mean, I'm sure his cardio is still fine. He seems
His cardio is good, dude. He's a hard worker, dude. He
yeah,
works in the rock, so
he does
your
slow
point-
down though. He does slow down as the
'Cause
fight
he-
goes.
To your point, Pepe, he kind of fell in love with his hands a little bit too. So that's
Yeah,
probably
exactly.
why. Yeah.
Remember everyone against Asitar, they're like, oh, he make sure he wrestles, make sure he wrestles.
Yeah, and then he just comes out and
Yeah.
bangs.
And yeah, he
Just
was
let
a
me bang,
he was
bro.
a slight dog in that fight, and I was like, what the fuck?
Pepe, what do you think? What? Oh, it's my bad.
Go
Sorry.
ahead, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, what do you think about a stab on Ziam by submission at 18-1? Frevola sticks his head in submission.
He did go for a guillotine, didn't he?
He did. He. That's what I'm saying. Some of he tried the counter grapple Pulis, which I thought was bad, but maybe here he could catch a front choke. He's got 5 submissions.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Is
That's
Frevola
a
getting
surprising
guillotined
part.
though?
I mean, he'll go to sleep, but he's not gonna tap. But he could.
Yeah, they'll beat the fuck out of him at the gym if he goes out for. a
No,
guillotine.
he's not tapping. He's not tapping by it.
I mean, he could just slap up Dylan Montalvo and be like, damn.
Ozzy, where did you see plus 300 decision?
I think I might have. I saw that on. It was on one of my. I saw that it might have. It got bet. I see it's 250 now, but
Oh, okay.
I'm almost certain.
would be a bet.
I'm almost
Let's,
certain I saw 300.
Let's shift gears a little bit. Justin's asking about the Brito Gomis matchup. So if you guys have listened to me for a while, you know that I am not a Gomis guy. I think this dude, like, he's one of those fighters that has a high floor because of his boring fighting style. But I mean, I think this guy should play the lottery considering the run that he's on at the UFC. Like, I do not think this guy's very good at all. And I think he's finally going to get somebody that isn't going to miss like Francis Marshall did, has way more power, which he has yet to face, and has powerful takedowns as well. Like Brito, I think, could win this fight wherever it goes. I think Gomis is going to do his usual song and dance, try to, keep distance, use his long legs, low volume on the outside, and then defensively wrestle if Brito tries to close distance. But I just don't think it's going to work, man. It worked against the lower level guys. Brito's a killer. I think Brito is honestly a decent parlay piece this week. I know it has been on the move, and I think, Pepe, you were part of that move earlier in the week. But yeah, I think it's got to be Brito here. No interest in Gomis. I get the hometown narrative, but I'm just not interested. Chad, what you got?
Yeah, similar opinion to you. Just at a base level, a Gomis win here is a split decision where he lands, 20 strikes, and it would involve some horrible decision making from Brito.
Yeah.
Not that he's incapable of that, because I don't think he's the highest IQ fighter, but he just has so many paths here that it would take an insane level of decision making to lose. If it's standing, Gomis is good at like neutralizing, but Brito is going to always look to have the bigger moments. He hits way harder. He can be, kick that range for a little bit and then land a flurry and take the round back. Even if it's on the guard and doesn't hurt him, it's always going to look like he's doing more standing. He has the top time path. He's explosive. He has, he can get on top. And as we saw in the Marshall fight later on, I don't think Gomis has much to offer on bottom. So that's, that's something that Brito can go to as well. He has all the finishing upside. I do think Gomis is enough of a weasel that unless he gets put out cold, he's probably going to survive here. So I think, like you, that Brito's a good enough parlay piece. But I might take a stab at Brito decision, see where the best line for that is, because Gomis just strikes me as a dude that's going to fight for his decision loss, and I think he's more likely to be subbed than KO'd, but I think he likely just weasels, survival mode. So I'll take a look at that decision.
Pepe, Ozzy, anything?
Yeah, this one's one that I'm interested to see some of the more obscure prop lines, like the significant strike totals or total takedowns and those markets. Just because I do think Brito, you saw in that Jack Shore fight, he committed to that leg kick and was ripping it with no caution. So I think that he's probably going to be able to walk forward on Gomis, but Gomis is good. Like, he keeps his hands up, he'll try to intercept you and grab the clinch and stuff like that. But I could see Brito just, accepting that and then bullying him in the clinch and, grabbing a few takedowns and then kind of like jockeying for position a few times. But otherwise, I'm not really that interested in this fight, in terms of money line sides and stuff like that. But I think it potentially could go over. I do think, because although Gomis is, we all hate him, he kind of doesn't really show that much damage. He's not like Jack Shore, who bruises like a plum. And so I could see him kind of like avoiding some big strikes and, going to a decision.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I played him at minus 220. It's a little different now. I honestly wouldn't play him past minus 260. I wouldn't be comfortable doing that, honestly. But, the reason why, you guys already talked about it, but like the physicality is going to be really big here. And, Gomis has been able to fight a lot of people who, haven't been that physical, not that strong, not that fast. His level of competition on the regional scene is actually pretty shitty. And you can't really point to a performance where you're like, oh, that's a great performance. He did awesome there. A lot of the guys, or a few of the guys that he did well against on the regional scene, are just awful. Whereas Brito is, you can tell he's getting better and better every fight. He seems to be becoming more complete. And, I know people might knock him because he slows down or whatever, but he's able to fight through fatigue really well. He can still hit really hard. He can still do his cage push, grappling approach. And I think that he's going to be able to do that here. I think he's just going to be way stronger than him. And, I do think the submission is live too, because Gomis was submitted by Charrier, and, he started with grabbing his neck. And Brito's really, the way he got JSP's neck was super opportunistic. He's a really intuitive fighter. Like, he seems to really know what to do to maximize his win condition. He's got a win over Diego Lopez. Obviously, that's aging really well. And yeah, I could see him getting top time. I could see him cage pushing. I could see him landing the bigger shots. What I will say against him is, it's obviously at home for Gomis, so the judging could go his way if it's a close decision. His upside is probably a split decision, so that's a live outcome for sure. But yeah, I think we covered that one pretty good.
Anybody have thoughts on this Cutelaba? Anybody look at the other side, the other guy here?
Yeah, I looked at him. John, were you about to say something?
I was just going to jump in if nobody else did. But
go ahead. Go ahead.
I kind of like Erslan, to be honest. I don't know if I'll get there on a bet, but I mean, I'm kind of just done with Cutelaba. Like, I'm a fan of the guy. I like his style. I like the Hulk get up. Like, that's all great. But the dude's a complete flake. Like, honestly, like, you cannot trust this guy at all to even fight a couple minutes without gassing. He never fights smart. He can get submitted. He can get hurt. And he's likely going to gas out as well. Whereas the key difference for me in this one, even though Erslan is just a one-dimensional power puncher, one thing that's clear is Erslan actually carries his power very well for multiple rounds. And that's more than you could say for Cutelaba. So even though I think first round is basically like 50-50, either guy can win by knockout, I think if the fight gets extended at all, I definitely start to favor Erslan quite a bit. But that's why I'll probably just end up waiting and potentially try to get in live.
Chad, do you have or either of you guys like a side?
Yeah, I mean, I looked at this one. I mean, Erslan, I mean, he just chucks bombs. He's throwing overhands, haymakers, but he's catching these guys. These guys, they have to know what's coming, and it's hitting them, and it's hitting them like a ton of bricks, because they're, a lot of these guys are not standing up to too much of his power. He's fought a few times too at heavyweight. He's also missed weight a few times at 205. And if you see a picture of him, the guy's all pecs and delts, and they better be drug testing this guy. But overall, Cutelaba, terrible defense.
He kind of looks like a bald Chad, no?
A little bit.
I'm
bit.
a little bit more muscular.
Chad wishes.
A little more toned. Oh, okay. I see
whoa.
you've been hitting the curls for the girls lately.
Holy
Let's
shit.
go.
Put the guns away.
You're gonna be testing me. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's true. I'll pay for it. I faded Cutelaba in his last fight. I found it insane that the Lins line was even kind of close, just because how well-rounded Lins is. But the thing that you're saying is true, John. Obviously, Erslan is extremely one-dimensional. He doesn't throw kicks. He barely throws to the body. He has really no interest in grappling. And I did see a few times where he kind of got wrestled a little bit. The guy got to like the back clinch position. But like you said, Cutelaba is just not reliable to fight through positions and take on adversity. I remember when he was looking good against Kennedy, and I was like, no way, dude, I'm dropping a bomb on Kennedy in between these two rounds because I just knew that he was going to fold. He moved back. He's not in Vegas doing this camp. He's in Europe. He's probably getting cut after this. It's a little bit similar to when Guskov fought whoever the hell the other guy fought. He fought, and they're like, Volkan, when he fought Volkan. And people were like, man, they're bringing in Guskov to cut Volkan and this, that, and the third. But this time, I really think it's true, dude. They're bringing in Erslan to replace Cutelaba.
Another similarity is they're the same management company too. They're both dominant MMA guys. Erslan and
Guskov. Yeah. So I just think Erslan, he's coming in there with power. Cutelaba gets hit easily. He'll exchange with him. He's probably gonna get knocked out. I think the even money play is probably a little sharp on Erslan, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna get involved. I pick him. But I probably should.
What's interesting is, I'm with you, Ozzy. I was on Lins. Lins is my boy. We had to hit that last fight.
We love that one. Yep.
Just to see how Ion fought there, he didn't even kind of lean into his win condition. He kind of just accepted losing. Normally, he has his chance to finish round one, but he kind of just limp-dicked the entire fight, and that's indicative to me of someone that may be in a weird spot in their career where he's not committing to what got him to the dance, because it's also got him finished a bunch of times. He just didn't seem to commit to anything. I think here, I agree with John that Erslan, he carries his power. I could see a KO2 happening. A likely scenario for me is I think Erslan comes out throwing hard and Ion wrestles reactively round one, or he comes out wrestling before he even throws because, he doesn't want the bombs coming at him. If he does that, I think he's getting finished in round two because I can see him blowing his tank, just trying to wrestle. And then just having nothing, which is, a common thing for him in his fights. I don't think he can go a hard 15. I think he's likely to get hurt here. If he comes out winging bombs and they swing dicks, I think, it's a toss-up early. I just think it's less likely to go his way as that goes on. So I think Erslan's the side. I didn't bet him money line yet, but it is tempting me. It is.
Maybe I'll take the prop angle with what you were saying, Chad, because since we both kind of think if it makes it to round two, we favor him pretty significantly. Maybe I'll just do the KO 2-3 combo on FanDuel and then bet the KO 2 individually, depending on what numbers are out there.
I would do that, like favoring KO 2 over 3, like a little
same.
3, but like 75% 2.
Yep. Yeah, I'm with you.
Erslan finish props are not bad. They're like for.
Oh, are they out already?
I mean, they got him by inside the distance and not yet by KO and inside the distance is like plus 140 and plus 170. That's not that bad. This fight, I would be surprised if this fight went into the third round.
Oh, it's not going the distance.
I was actually surprised that the under like wasn't bigger, but I'm gonna squad ride with Erslan too. He makes a lot of sense.
Let's go.
When's the last time Cutelaba knocked someone out? You know,
dude, that's the thing. It's like
Tanner Bozer, and he wasn't.
Yeah, no, that was. I'm not even gonna count that. That was
honest to God. If I have time, I'll go and do like a scrub of my previous Cutelaba bets. He's probably the fighter I've lost the most money on. Like I feel like early on, I bet him almost every time out. Like even chasing like KO ones.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was gonna sneeze.
Is this a safe space?
You even chasing KO ones against Ankalaev like a fish.
No, John.
What were you gonna say, Chad?
I'll do you worse. If this is a safe space, I laid Cutelaba against Ryan Spann.
I think I did too.
I think I might have had a little bit of him.
Sure I did. Was it like minus 140 or something?
No,
maybe
it
more.
was like minus 200, bro.
Oh, then I didn't. I think I bet the KO prop. Then I know I bet him someplace, and I obviously was.
Luckily, I got it all back on. I got it all back on Jan Blachowicz in the next fight, so it's okay.
What's
No, I think I bet Cutelaba again, dude. I'm telling you, I'm like sick for this guy. I'm done with him now. Like I'm over it. Tristan wants to hear about the Lapilus Morales fight. Kind of a sick pup to even be interested in that fight. I don't have really any strong takeaway there. Lapilus is a huge favorite. I think it's somewhat competitive.
I think he just wants
to wins.
I think he just wants to know if the under at like 300 is gonna have any value.
Vince is so tough, man. He's Mexican tough, and Lapilus is difficult to corner him and land big strikes just because he's got those long, gangly arms. He throws those teep kicks. He's got the big cage here. He's in France and things like that. And, you know, Vince has looked good in his recent fights. I checked a few of them out. Obviously, he beat Hunter Azure most recently. But I think this is going to be just like a competitive decision where Vince is stuck in a gear looking to get his hands on this guy. But I don't like Taylor Lapilus, so I would not be shocked at him losing. I had Cody Stamen though, so you know, take that for what you will. But yeah, this is the least interesting fight on the card to me.
What about the co-main Imavov Allen? I actually have a bet here. I won't go too deep, but I did play the GTD at minus 120, I think. I don't get the pricing here. I feel like this goes to decision. I don't know, 65-70% of the time. So I think there's actually a decent size edge here. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I've been seeing there's been some under money coming in and Imavov finish prop bets coming in. I'm seeing you know, I definitely see that. I just think that potentially there could be, I think the way that there is a finish comes about is momentum swings. So whether that is Allen getting a takedown and things like that, and Imavov working his way up and then putting it on him. But I will say, I think that people are detracting from Imavov's anti-grappling and, you know, takedown defense and what he does to not get grappled. You know, I think people are expecting too much success from Allen there. When in reality, Allen, a lot of times, you know, he's getting the back off of like, you know, you trying to get up and things like that. Whereas I think Imavov is going to be well-schooled and smart and trying to get back up to his feet. I think it could be a competitive fight, but I definitely like Imavov here. I think that on the feet, Allen does get hit a lot. You saw in the Chris Curtis fight, he got hit pretty often when they were in boxing range. And I'm just really, 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 really high on Nassourdine Imavov. I think he could have the middleweight belt very, very soon. And I just think the guy is pretty deadly overall and very, very quick. You saw how he got Jared in the 4th or 5th round, I guess it was. Those were some really snappy and quick strikes that he was landing in a fight that was pretty high pace and, you know, and late in the fight. So I like Imavov. So, you know, I think some more action is going to come in on Allen. So we'll see.
I mean, you wouldn't lay minus 210 though, right?
I wouldn't lay minus 210, but I would lay under. I would lay something lower. Definitely be interested in him live.
Maybe
He's
like
had
150.
I would do minus 175.
Yeah, I would say minus 175, minus 180. I would still probably.
I think
play
the
it.
line's a little
You're killing me.
too wide. I definitely I've been riding with Imavov for a while, but this one seems like a little too wide, honestly. So I don't have
think-
anything on the fight. I think I'm just gonna pass on this one. But if anything, I mean, I think Allen's his side at the current number, to be honest, just because Imavov, he has looked really good and he is a lot faster, but he hasn't fought a grappler in a while. And dude, Allen is just kind of weird. He's like, his grappling comes out. He's very surprising with how good he is with it. Like that sweep that he hit on Jocko was like super impressive. He's got some tricky upper body takedowns that kind of happen out of nowhere. So I wouldn't be surprised if he has some grappling success against Imavov. I do think it's a somewhat close fight. I don't think Imavov is going to just buzz, in my opinion.
Any conviction on the total there on my GTD play around Pick'em?
Oh, it's Pick'em?
No, it was. I bet it at minus 120, I think.
That's solid, dude. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, like outside of an Allen sub, like I don't know. I mean, I guess Imavov could knock him out, but I don't think he's like this massive, power puncher, one hitter quitter.
No. And Allen is fucking strong, or he's pretty tough.
Yeah. Like he gets hurt, but he fights through it pretty good. And he'll probably just panic grapple if he does get hurt.
Yeah, he could always just pull guard.
Yeah. So I don't know.
He's never been out of America, I don't think, dude.
No, he beat Malkoon in China.
That was in China?
Yeah.
He lost to Malkoon in China then.
No,
that was a robbery, dude. Malkoon won that shit.
Malkoon would beat Imavov.
Malkoon's had some terrible luck, dude.
Yeah, I know. Malkoon should be ranked top 10 right now.
Malkoon's he's got to fight Bo Nickel, dude. He's got to call him out.
I mean, he's got hips of steel, man.
Bo Nickel's booked, bro. He's
I know.
Fighting,
I know. But they're overlooking Malkoon. They even gave Gerald Mershard to the Riddler, or whatever the hell his name is.
They should have booked him versus fucking Malkoon.
Everyone's gonna be all over that guy, hyping him up too.
He's good, dude.
Sean wants to hear an explanation.
I think he had his time.
Sean wants to hear an explanation for the Eileen Perez, Darya.
Man, does anyone have a bet on this fight?
I don't, but I looked at the fight, dude. I did.
All right, what do you make of it?
Man, Darya is just one of the lowest, not lowest. That last fight that she had was horrible, dude. I mean, I don't know what gets into some of these fighters. They start thinking that spin and back fists are how they win fights, dude. But she threw in the second half of that fight like 6 of them, and each of them worse than the previous one. She got taken down by that girl who is not good, has huge fake tits, like not a serious fighter.
Hey, that's not a bad thing.
She's not a bad thing, but in MMA it is. Landing some trips. I don't think she dug one underhook in the whole fight. Every time she throws strikes and exchanges, she leads with a jab. It's pretty easy. I think it should be easy for All-In to get in on her hips. Now, Allen, the main crux of it is, the thing I'm sure about is that Allen is going to go for takedowns, is going to wrestle, and the style of takedowns that she uses are going to work. And what I don't know is if, Darya has any, real jiu-jitsu game, because her wrestling and her positional, awareness looks bad to me. So I think for Allen, if it's a similar line as her previous last 2, it makes sense to me, because this girl doesn't look like she's going to give her that many problems, in my opinion. But where are you at?
I was, yeah, I mean, I've tried to fade Perez in the past 2 fights. But
me too. I was with you. Yeah.
Honestly, I felt better about Edwards than I do against Darya, honestly. But Darya's young. You kind of have to give her a little bit of slack. Against her UFC debut was her first time fighting in America. A lot of new things. It wasn't a great performance, but she's young. She trains in Paris, And she's used to fighting there, whereas Eileen has to travel to get there. But the thing with Eileen is her cardio is shit. So like basically, Darya is probably gonna lose round 1, but if she can win round 2, work and get up once she gets taken down, I think she can win a decision for sure.
Ola's just gonna be able to get in on takedowns whenever this girl's got no hand speed. I think Olin is honestly better than her on the feet as well. She's better than her on the feet too.
No,
yeah, she is.
I wouldn't go that far because Perez, she's gassy, she's low volume. Like Zlesniakova, actually, like she can hit a little bit, but I agree with you. I think she just gets mauled in the grappling. I brought up the new trends tool at FightNumbers.com because you hear it all the time. People say, it's WMMA, just bet the dog. Well, since May of last year, that's actually been like a massive loser. Since May of last year, if you bet one unit on every underdog in WMMA, they are 37, 86, and 1 with a negative 14% betting ROI. So when you hear people say, "Oh, just bet the dog, it's WMMA," that's actually been a pretty bad strategy. So certainly want to pick your spots.
I think a lot of it has to do with the UFC's matchmaking, because if you've noticed, they've been way more intentional about who they're pushing. So they've been matchmaking, and like you can kind of see it, like you can figure out who they're trying to push. So yeah, like the Natalia Silva versus Andrade fights, they're doing a lot of that kind of shit. So a little more obvious. Speaking of WMMA juice, actually, no, never mind. I forgot.
Yeah, pull up that comment.
Oh no, you go ahead.
Juice, Duncan.
you could go ahead with
okay.
Your
so
other bet,
the reason I'm bringing up because someone asked who has the best feet on this card, and it took me some time to think, but it's definitely Jacqueline Cavalcanti, and I like her a fair bit in this spot against Nora Cornolle. And I played her at minus 183, pretty big, because I capped her like minus 250, and I felt pretty good about that number, honestly. And she just has a ton of advantages in this spot. Oh God, Chad, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, I mean, this is my YouTube channel. Show some respect.
I look down, I see
over my.
I see some skin flapping up. I was like, oh my God.
You're lucky that was the skin that was flapping up.
Yeah, I know. I got nervous for a second. But so Cavalcanti,
big toe size.
Cavalcanti is 7 years younger. She's a lot bigger than Nora. She's already fought her. And for some of the reason why I think Nora is overrated is because, so Nora has fought like absolute cans on the regional scene. Really bad fighters. That Priscilla de Souza is literally 5 foot tall. It looks like she's like has so much power. She's got all these finishes. It's all wolf tickets. She's terrible. She's a bad fighter. Her striking defense is bad. She's got this Muay Thai background, whatever. Like she can use her elbows and her knees in the clinch. She's okay in the clinch. Her bottom game is quite bad. I bet Edwards against her in her debut, and it was a close fight, but Edwards is actually like super mid. It looked like she is slow as ever. Jocelyn is she's too thick down low. Just a little, she's just slow, and she couldn't really strike. Her striking looks like shit these days. I don't know why. But that's not Cavalcanti at all. Cavalcanti has excellent footwork. She's in and out. She knows how to utilize range. She's super difficult to hit. And Nora is very easy to hit. Nora can't see straight right punches coming. So in Cavalcanti's last fight, she was a large favorite. I was huge on her. It just made too much sense. This is a way easier fight for her than the Nunez fight. Then against Nunez, she's in a smaller cage and she's fighting a super tough Brazilian striker who's going to keep going forward.
Power in both hands.
Yeah, and she's southpaw too. Nunez southpaw, and we'll just, keep going forward. No matter what you hit her with, she'll just keep biting down and swing overhand, so her optics look good. Nora, when I've seen her get hit in the past, she shells up a little bit. She retreats. She doesn't bite down and push forward. She's looked like somewhat aggressive, but Mullins was pretty much out of the fight. She was dead gas by round 2. She was dealing with a divorce. It was her first time fighting in the U.S. And she looked a shell of herself. It was a really weak, liver kick that landed. I thought it was quite lucky. I bet Nora in that fight plus 275 against Melissa freaking Mullins. And now Cavalcanti is a smaller favorite.
Yeah.
I get she's taking it on short notice, but she's the way better striker. She could potentially grapple if she wants. I think she's going to hurt this girl. I think the KO is live. I think the speed is just going to be too much for her. And if you watch their last fight, Cavalcanti was on the front foot the whole fight because she just didn't respect Nora's striking whatsoever. And, that fight easily could have been stopped. And now Nora's 34 years old. Jacqueline's 27. I don't know. I think she should be a massive favorite. I feel pretty good about that one.
I agree. And if you look, Melissa closed close to minus. She opened 265. She closed almost minus 400. And I think this is a more difficult fight for Nora. But I think this fight is going to go to decision, honestly. I think minus 130, 135, that juice for Jacqueline to win by decision, I think is okay. I think it's going to be hard to finish Nora. I think, Nora also missed weight in her last fight as well. She missed by 2 or 3 pounds. But I think if someone's, doesn't want to lay the 200, I think could Nora get hurt? Yeah, but she's got that William Gomis French weasel, thing to her. She creates some scrambles sometimes, against Jocelyn and things like that to get out of, harm's way. Even against Mullins, she got out of a few bad positions. So I think this fight will go to decision. Minus 130 for Jacqueline, I think is good.
I feel like between the two of you covered that one pretty good. Chad, you can start off here. Dogfather wants to hear about Oki Duncan, which is one that I'm super excited about. I think it's going to be action packed. What do you got for us?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Initial thoughts were that I was going to like Duncan here. Just based on memory, I was like, all right, well, Timmy Kwamba had some success. He's a smaller guy. There could be a grappling path for Duncan. But
Absolutely.
Upon tape, I kind of think Duncan's getting his head taken off here. He's so hittable. He's kind of slow and ploddy. Oki's very explosive. He hits hard, and he'll go for the kill. And I just think more likely than not here, he's killing Duncan. I can't lay the price, and KO is not great, so it stinks to have that kind of thought when you went in thinking you're going to have a bet, but I can't bet the dog here, and I'm not laying the juice, but I do think it's an Oki KO, more often than not.
I kind of had the opposite feeling, just because it was initially I love Balaji Oki. I was big on him on Contender Series, so there's definitely some bias there. But that being said, so initially I thought, Duncan's super hittable, plotting style, gets hurt in basically all of his fights because he's super reckless. So Oki can certainly knock him out in round 1. There's no doubt about it. He rips the body really well, too, which I love. But I actually think the wrestling path is going to be there for Chris Duncan. You mentioned the Kuamba fighting up a weight class on short notice, was able to take him down and have some success. Chris Duncan has actually been like really going to his wrestling a lot more aggressively. And that doesn't mean that like he's just going to be able to do that nonstop. But I think in a fight where let's not forget, he's got power too. Like in basically all of those fights when he's getting hurt or even getting finished, like he's had moments of success where he's hurt the other guy as well. So I think he has just as much power. I think the speed difference is for sure going to favor Oki, but I don't know how long that's going to play out, especially if Duncan, starts to close him up, hold him up against the fence, land some takedowns and make him work. So it's kind of one where I was like, yeah, it's probably an Oki KO and I'm not going to play anything, but I'm still debating it, but I'm kind of sniffing out a dog shot here on Chris Duncan.
I'm more with you for sure, John. I was looking at I was thinking this line would climb up just a tad bit, get more solidify more in like the 180 range. But I'm just not convinced that Oki's just a big finisher against UFC level competition. Is Dylan really an MMA fighter? The guy that he fought in Contender?
Salvador.
Yeah, I don't think so. Not really. I think Oki very much fights behind his jab. He's got a sharp and quick jab. But, and his regional tape was pretty intriguing. When he came into, I think I backed him as well, like you in the Contender fight. But I just feel that sometimes he doesn't let go as much with the hands as he could. He doesn't like go crazy with the combinations, I feel, and he's not really a kicker either. So seeing him minus 105 to win inside the distance is hard for me to wrap my head around that. I was actually thinking if I was to back him, I would think maybe him to win by decision in a fight where it's more maybe a 1-1, maybe Duncan gets some grappling maybe in round 1 and Oki starts, it's just being competitive, because I think, if you more often than not, you lock these guys together, I think they both have some success. I just really don't see Oki being his first fight on like a main stage and things like that, a big cage, him being able to kind of handle everything that's coming and then be sharp and avoiding the wrestling of Duncan in round 1 and also knocking him out. So, you get a plus 140 here for a lightweight fight to go off 15, where I think that one guy has some grappling path. And Oki also is not one, when he got taken down by Tim Kwamba, he didn't give up a bad position really quick. He was kind of a little calm. He was like, okay, no problem. You took me down. I'm gonna work my way up. And once I'm on the feet, I'm way better than you. I'm landing, the minute winning is much more in his favor. But Duncan's a calf kicker, trains with, ATT, has some power in his hands, like as you described. And I think the finish that he had against Manuel Torres, one of the bigger and mean finishes of the year. Like Manuel Torres yokes him up, kind of like tosses him around, latches on while this guy's trying to shake him off. And at altitude in Mexico, it was a crazy environment. So I think this fight could go into the later round. So even the 1.5 total, if you could find it, is minus 185. I just don't think there's a round 1 finish here that often. But I do think Chris Duncan here is a live underdog. So I love the placement of this fight as the opening fight of the card for sure. So I'll definitely be tuned in.
Yeah, I like that. I like that shout on the overs in this one. I could definitely see this fight going to decision and it being relatively competitive. I've been wanting to like Oki, but there's something holding me back from getting involved. And, a lot of it is because I don't necessarily know how he's gonna handle the wrestling of Duncan. And like how much Duncan is going to try to push it. Kwamba having some success is definitely bearish. But I know
Kwamba sucks, dude.
Yeah, Kwamba is low level. But he's way faster than Duncan. But as far as like the wrestling goes, Duncan's pretty strong. I could see him potentially holding him down for periods of time. So yeah, it could be one of those dog fights where, whoever wins round 3 takes it. I'm kind of leaning overs too. It looks like a lot of money's coming in on Duncan, honestly. Oki's down to 178 on Bet Online. He was as high as like
He was like minus 210 or something.
Yeah, he got to 205.
I just don't like. I mean, if I'm power rating these guys, how I'm thinking of it, it's hard for me to make Oki like a real favorite over guys in the Duncan tier that are well rounded and have some experience as well. You know what I mean?
I mean,
like, can apply that skill set.
I wouldn't be surprised if Oki knocks him out or whatever, but it's not as predictable to me as like Cavalcanti, winning against Nora.
I think to get Oki to that price, you have to really think he knocks out Duncan at a pretty decent clip here, which is certainly possible. I just I'm a little skeptical. Lifeguard wants Chad's lock of the week. Then we'll talk main event and get out of here.
Like, that's tough, right? Because you want to give like the
you got to sell it, man.
No, because you want to give. So hear me out. Because when they say that, you want to give like the best odds thing that you think is going to hit, but
you could just give out something that's going to hit.
Just give out a lock. Lock of the week, bro.
Yeah.
Giants money line. Giants money line.
Ludovic Klein.
Friend of the show, Marcus, is on Giants.
I got a nice little parlay.
Ludovic Klein,
Giants
money line.
A lock parlay. It's Taylor Lapilus by decision parlayed with Umar C money line plus 100 guaranteed to win.
That's actually not as bad of a price as I expected that would be. Like, I feel like those are both
I can't see Umar C losing, honestly.
I mean, we didn't really discuss that fight, but the takedowns are going to be free there.
I don't think anyone's has a bet on that one here, but I might honestly throw him in like a parlay with Lapilus decision just to get it to even money.
I might just tail you and do Cavalcanti, Brito, and then
just pick winners. Cavalcanti, Klein, Brito, Lapilus.
Just parlay every favorite, dude. Is that your lock of the week, Chad?
Why not? Why not? What do we? Who is losing that?
Yo, did we? Okay, we didn't even talk about the main event.
Well, we're going to. We were waiting on Chad's lock here.
That still hasn't given a lock.
All right. What are
we don't got all day, bro.
Hey, we can go back if you want us to do main event first.
Yeah, we give you a minute.
We'll do that.
All right, yeah. We'll get back to it.
Chad will let you know.
We'll come back
after the card. Chad will let you know after.
Hit my DMs.
Yeah, he wants the 1v1 lock of the week. Main event, I have a bet. I won't go too deep. I bet the over 1.5 at minus 150. I think this is pretty generous, to be honest. Like, I get why it's priced where it is. Moicano has been through a ton of wars. He's been knocked out multiple times, taken a ton of damage as well. But I think at least some of that is negated by BSD is not the power puncher that some of these other guys are, like Turner and Drew Dober. So I think the knockout threat is a little less of a threat, especially early in the fight. I think if BSD finds a finish, it likely comes from him breaking Moicano over consistent grappling and pace, which I could see. But I just think if that happens, it's probably rounds 3, 4, or 5 even. I think really with the over 1.5, you're pretty much just trying to fade a Moicano like early sub. So I played the over 1.5 at minus 150. I think that's good. What say you?
I'm gonna wait Pepe go before me.
Okay, I didn't realize that was such a good line. Holy shit. I every fight I look at, I keep seeing like these really good totals.
Dude, this is a good card to bet. Like, I'm gonna be firing.
Yeah, I like that over 1.5 a lot, dude. I could see Benoit getting a finish in like the 3rd round, honestly. But dude, Moicano is super tough, man. What I think St Denis body kicks, his body work is gonna give Moicano hell. I could definitely see it being competitive. I don't want any part of the money line side for either of them, but I think I might ride on that over 1.5. I can't really. I mean, like Moicano or St Denis finish The Frevola one, it was kind of like he just landed the perfect leg kick or the perfect high kick.
Head kick.
Yeah, against Gabriel Miranda, like he dragged him into round 2, and Miranda was gassed in half a round. So if Moicano gets hurt, he can just pull guard and try to recover.
100%.
He's a tough son of a bitch. This is a really exciting fight. I'm looking forward to it, but yeah, I think the line is so good because the over 2.5 came out and everyone just started hammering the under. So I think that's what affected the 1.5 to get such a good price. But why would this be priced to finish inside a round and a half? St Denis just gassed out in his last big fight against Poirier. I could see him trying to conserve some energy, even though he usually fights balls to the wall. Moises' fight went over 1.5, didn't it? Against
Easily.
Yeah,
pretty easy. I mean, Moises just quit in that fight too.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I like the over 1.5. I think I'll probably just stick to that. What about you, Ozzy?
Interesting. Yeah, overall, I'm gonna be on the money Moicano side. I've got a little bit at plus 245. Not available right now, but I think it'll probably come back a bit. And also in exchanges, not gonna be hard to get bets matched on that. I think especially with the French coming all out. But man, just when I look at Benoit St Denis, he's not that thoughtful with the striking. I feel that Jalen Turner, he clipped Moicano a few times, but Jalen Turner is really, really quick and fast on the counters. He's so rangy as well. He could be right at the end of your strikes and they come right back. And that's how he caught him. Moicano didn't see that punch and coming. Same thing happened with Rafael Fiziev, right? Those are both round 1 times where he gets clipped and things like that. But remember, this is a 5-round fight. And if you're going to give me those extra rounds and the guy who has been 5 rounds in Moicano, right, even though it gets RDA, but that was on short notice, dude. And, it was a not that great of a look, but RDA, I think, is a much better positional grappler and a very good wrestler. And he's a much better positional grappler than Benoit St Denis, I feel. St Denis, he's so rabid that he doesn't hold these positions. He doesn't hold the back control. He doesn't kind of like solidify the top time as much as you think he could. Although I do think he's a good grappler, but I just feel that Moicano is a really good grappler. I think if Moicano gets on top, it's also a problem. I don't think it's gonna be easy for you saw how uncomfortable Jalen Turner was immediately in that first round underneath Moicano. Moicano's so good with flanking, getting away, right? You're trying to recover your guard or do something, use an underhook on one side. He'll cover, go to the other side, create a dilemma for you. And I just think the guy is gritty. He's tough, and he knows what he needs to do to win. Is he going to get clipped? Yes. But I did find it interesting that Dustin Poirier, after the fight, he said, yeah, Benoit, he felt strong in there. He was squeezing, I felt his weight and how strong he was. But he said 2 things that caught my attention. One, he said he didn't feel that Benoit was extremely technical and tight with his jiu-jitsu and positioning. And he also said that he didn't feel that the power of the strikes was really there from BSD. He didn't think that he landed like knockout kind of strikes. And if you're not gonna be doing that against Moicano, man, Moicano could compete here. Minutes, I think, on the feet. I think he's a much cleaner striker. He's better with his boxing. And but we'll see. Benoit's gonna come out, he's gonna kick. He's gonna probably kick him in the dick a few times and hope that he drops his hand so he can head kick him. But at 245, when I got those extra 2 rounds of equity, I mean, if you price these guys at what would you price these guys in a 3-rounder? Right? That would have to favor Benoit, right? Yeah. So he would have to be a bigger favorite. And I can't really realistically think that I would say, hey, Benoit's a 350 favorite over or 300 favorite over Moicano in a 3-round fight. So in a 5-round fight, how is he even close to that?
I think
I got Moicano.
I think the bear case for Moicano is the Dober fight because he seemed to be getting rocked every time he got hit.
Dober's a big hitter.
Yeah.
Dober's a big hitter.
He is.
All right, let's circle back to Chad's lock of the week before we get out of here. You got to be ready. We gave you that extra minute there.
So is it a single bet? Is it a
Oh
parlay?
my
Is it
Bro,
God.
it's
bet?
a lock of the week.
It can be anything. It can be anything.
It could be Erslan round 2 TKO. It could be whatever else. This better hit, man.
Ooh. I think I might have to.
The last bet you gave out was Izzy to not get submitted. So it can't get worse than that.
That's not true.
No, it
I was
was.
gonna say, I don't
It was
remember
Francis Ngannou to land
That's
5
not true.
punches.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Disregard when I gave out fucking Manon Fiorot plus 4x to win the decision.
I was like 6 months ago.
And that big submission prop, too.
Was that this year?
He had a big
was
submission
before
prop
the
a few weeks ago.
Was that this year?
John, what was the submission prop you're talking about?
You hit a big one, and you put it in Discord a few weeks ago. I don't remember which fighter. Was it?
I can't remember. I hit a lot of those.
You hit Bruno Bulldog. That was a good one. Bruno
round
Bulldog.
2 KO. Yeah.
No, but there was one I'm thinking
one.
of that he was the only one that brought it up in Discord, and it was like a long shot sub. And
it was Weston Wilson.
That was
Weston.
one of them, but that wasn't the one I was thinking of. There was a couple.
One.
He was running hot, man. Put some respect
on his name. It was like 3 weeks back to back on the show. I dropped.
Yeah, it was like a big sub 2-3 combo.
Okay,
yeah.
Come on, let's go. Let's get one now.
Man.
Let's get one this week.
Let's hear one.
I'm not gonna give I won't give something minus money. We'll give a plus money lock. You know what? We're going to do. It might be a better price on FanDuel when that comes out, but fuck it. We're going Erslan KO2 plus 850.
850, bro. I'm betting that. I'm betting
850.
That's a great number.
It is what it is.
Is that real? 850 for KO2?
Yeah, boy.
Wow. I'm definitely betting that.
I am betting it currently.
There
That's
it is.
On Unibet can be for those that
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
I'll be making a kiosk run tomorrow. All right, that's gonna do it, guys. Appreciate you joining every Wednesday night. New home here on my YouTube channel every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Normal weeks, I'll be doing my individual breakdown video as well here, but then the whole gang's gonna be here Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Appreciate you guys joining in the chat. Hope to see you guys each and every week. As always, best of luck, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.